Capitola, come to the coast with me. The sun and the sky are free. We'll play in the sand and sea. Capitola, paradise you'll adore. I'll take your hand there on the sand along the shore.
We're here in beautiful Capitola by the Sea, in the riverside home of longtime Capitola resident Dick Arthur. Hello, Dick.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I hope you are too.
I'm doing fine. It's a great day.
Well, thank you so much for being part of the Capitola Memories Project and sharing with us some of your memories of Capitola.
They go back quite a ways.
Well, I thought we'd start with you telling us what year were you born?
1925.
And how long have you lived in Capitola or been coming to Capitola?
Oh, I've been coming to Capitola probably since I was 4 or 5 years old. And my dad used to come over from San Jose with horse and wagon and camp. And the picture that we gave in 1894 is my grandfather and the family in downtown Capitola Village looking up at the trestle. They came over to survive financially for the year. They had a cherry farm in San Jose area, and they had the whole year's crop on the railroad cars. In those days they cooled them with ice. They had no insurance, and they had a railroad strike.
Oh.
So they lost their whole year's supply, their whole year's income, and they came over and fished in Capitola and sold the fish and survived the year.
Wow.
That was 1894.
So your parents were primarily cherry farmers in San Jose area?
My dad's family was. They had several different ranches over in Santa Clara Valley over the years.
Did they grow other things besides cherries?
Mostly cherries, and they had a couple of, I don't know, they had some oats in a couple different places, but that was the primary. And the house, the last time I looked, was still there. Been remodeled 3 or 4 times, but it's on Dry Creek Road in the Willow Glen area.
Oh. Do you know where the cherries were shipped to?
No, I don't. They were going east, but like everything else from California, it goes east.
So what are your earliest memories in Capitola?
Well, my aunt and uncle, they lived in Danville. They bought the property here in 1938. Bought the old shack that was out on Riverview Avenue. And the house next door to us was built in 1926. And when they built that, they said the old cabin was old at that time. So it goes back to the turn of the century. And we'd come over here, go to the beach, get sunburned. And my dad, when he was a kid, they came over and camped down by the trestle by the old sycamore trees that used to be there. By horse and wagon, they'd come from San Jose and walk up the hill because it was too much weight for the horse, and then they walked down to, because the brakes weren't that good on the wagon, but they made a real trip out of it.
Sounds like it was a long walk.
It was a long walk. But then in high school days, we'd hitchhike over from San Jose and play on the beach. Easter week, we come over and spent a week in the old cabin, and ended up buying it in 1944 from my aunt and uncle and built a new place on it, which we have today. And so we've been coming over here for a long time.
Well, it's a nice place to come to.
Oh, yeah.
And a nice place to live.
And then when I was in the service, I got my commission in the Marine Corps, got home. I told Anita, the wife, that if I got my commission, we'd get married. So on July 22nd, 1945, we spent our honeymoon on this property. That'll be 70 years ago.
Wow. So did you serve at all in World War II, or were you a little bit after the war?
No, I went in 43. Got out after the war ended in 46. Was in the Marine Corps, got my commission at Quantico. Stayed in reserve, and in 1950, the Korean War started, and I was in the reserve, and I got called back in, and I served in Korea.
I see.
For a couple of years.
What line of work did you go into after you got back from the war?
It was the automotive aftermarket. In 46, I'd never planned on getting into the business, but my uncle talked me into coming to work for him. Well, he went on vacation to help out in the auto parts and machine shop business in San Jose. They'd started it in 1918, and so I did it to fill in to help him out, and I was there for 54 years.
Well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. So ended up with a warehouse and a machine shop, and we had about 50 employees when we at the peak.
Now explain to me a little bit more exactly what you mean by automobile aftermarket.
When people repair their own cars a lot more than they do nowadays. You can't open the hood, you can't get to the engine, you know. And that industry is pretty much gone away as far as doing major overhauls on the cars. So we had one of the largest automotive machine shops for grinding crankshaft, boring, and doing all those things in Northern California. We had nine machinists, and then we got in more into the parts business, you know, automotive pistons, gaskets, bearings, the whole bit. Spark plugs was a big thing, and now people can't get to their engines.
So this is primarily assisting people who are working on the car themselves.
We sold it to the people doing their own work and to garages and industrial canneries, you know, whatnot, that repairing their own vehicles.
Did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, 2 brothers. An older brother, he was in the Navy on a destroyer in World War II. A younger brother who was in the Marine Corps, he 5 years younger. He enlisted to keep from getting drafted when he was in college for a couple of semesters, and he enlisted in the Marine Corps and served playing football for the San Diego Marines and escorting starlets to the premieres of movies in his dress blues.
Sounds like a nice job.
It was nice. He got out of, after 1 year, that was a 1-year deal, but he had to stay in reserve, and then Korea came along, and he was gone in about 3 weeks.
Oh, gee.
And he was in the 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, 1st Marine Division. 6 months later, I was in the same outfit, and he was in the hospital up at Oak Knoll. He had been in the Chosin Reservoir when the 1st Marine Division was surrounded by the Chinese. He got out, he ended up okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So on your visits to Capitola, you mentioned the beach. Did you go fishing and things like that?
When the kids, they'd go out on the pier and catch crabs. We'd have fresh crabs. They'd pull one pincher off and throw them back because they'd grow another one back in. But I was never, I didn't do that much boating.
What about fishing in the creek?
Well, in those days they could. Now you can't. They used to stock Soquel Creek up at Soquel every year. They'd from the hatchery, and the kids would have great fishing for a few days. Two of the kids did catch a steelhead. One of them with a butterfly net once, and the other one caught it by hand. That was before it was illegal.
Somebody told me there was a big hole up near Nob Hill Foods that was very popular with the local fishermen.
That was the place they used to go to. Big Hole, they called it, and the right outside our house here, there was a hole formed by Noble Gulch where it emptied into the creek. And in the storms, they'd dig a big hole there, and when steelhead season would come, you'd find 6 or 8 steelhead fishermen standing around that hole with their lines in trying to catch them. They never did have that much good luck, though.
I see. Oh, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned coming over to Capitola from San Jose. Did you ever take the train through the mountains?
No, never did. We used to go on both ends of the tunnel and look through from Wrights. They call it Wrights over the other side where Lexington is now, above there. But we used to enjoy watching the trains go by the trestle here.
Was there a train every day here in Capitola?
Oh, there was quite a few trains of freight, a lot of freight. Then they had the Suntan Express, they called it, came from, I guess, San Jose and up the peninsula. It used to come over to Santa Cruz.
Uh-huh.
That was quite a deal in its day.
Well, I've seen pictures of the big crowds.
Yeah.
When did you finally come here permanently?
Well, we built this house in 1965, and then I got tired of, in San Jose on weekends and vacations, being over there taking care of the yard, and the wife was here with the kids having a good time. And so we packed up and added to the house over the garage and the rumpus room. And in 1971 moved over, and the rest of the 30 some odd years I commuted there daily, which wasn't bad.
Well, what's it like living along the river here? I see some ducks out there right now.
Yeah, oh, it's beautiful. Like my son Bruce said, it's like when we're working over the hill, it's like coming over for vacation every night. A nice spot.
What about, tell me about your experiences with the Begonia Festival.
Oh, one year I think it was 67, we decorated the house with a begonia sign made out of begonias clear across the yard, and we got a trophy for that. And in those days they used to give trophies for best decorated house, and that was interesting. And they decorate floats down in front on the creek right in front of our house. And we've had as many as close to 100 people for lunch. Some of the people we didn't know, they were our friends, but they became friends.
Well, you have the perfect spot here to view the nautical parade.
Oh, it's perfect. And our son Bruce was dressed up as Noah for Noah's Ark. They had a float was Noah's Ark, and he was Noah. And I think that was the time
68.
that first time he kissed his wife-to-be. It was that weekend. Wife, Dory.
Well, tell me a little bit about growing up in San Jose again. What schools did you go to over there, and do you have any especially interesting memories of going to school in the 1930s?
Oh yeah, no, we used to walk to school. Went to Hester Grammar School. I don't know how far that was. Well, about 10 or 12 blocks, I guess, altogether. And from there I went to Herbert Hoover Junior High School and San Jose High School for 2 years, and then it was when the World War II started, and then they built Lincoln High, and 42 we started there in September and graduated in 43 in June, the first graduating class, and I was the senior class president, so we had a ball.
I know that your son Bruce has been involved a lot through the years in local Capitola government, serving on the city council and so forth. What about you? Have you been involved at all in local politics?
No, I didn't get into politics. I think Bruce told me he'd had enough, so for both of us.
You're so close to the river here. What was it like here during some of the big floods that we've had?
Well, in 1983 was the highest it ever got, up to the cross arms on the fence down there, right up to our foundation. We were told to evacuate. Our daughter had a house in Soquel. We went up there, and I gave Bruce a call. We came down and we lifted stuff up off the floor in case it got up that hard. It never did.
Oh, it didn't get into the house?
Didn't get into the house.
Well, that's
it was
good.
Close. Well, the interesting thing in 55 is, I guess that was Easter week, and I was home, and the wife and the kids were all over here for vacation, and I'd come over for evening for dinner and whatnot. I came over that one night. Water was clear up to the foundation, almost out to Riverview Avenue. And I walked in the house. Nobody there. There's a note, gone to the movies. So they went down to the old movie theater in Capitola, and the movie that was playing was Don't Go Near the Water. It was really a coincidence.
That was. I think that was 82. When
Was that 82?
Was the other big flood year.
82, 83?
January of 82.
Oh, okay.
I also remember it quite well.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it rained.
It sure did.
Downpour the whole day.
Yeah.
It was quite something. What about, we're on a disaster run now, so what about the earthquake? Were you here during the earthquake? How'd things go for the earthquake?
Well, that was an interesting experience. Wife and I were in San Jose, out the prune yard in Campbell, when it hit, just getting out of the car, and I hung on to the light pole, and she hung on to the fender of the car. And so we headed back to try to get back to Capitola, and very slow going. We had to end up on Highway 9, go over towards Boulder Creek, and going about 3 miles an hour with so much traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Got near the top, fairly near the top, and had vapor lock on the car. So I pulled off to the side, and finally this car came along, and a lot of people wanted to help. don't know if we can do. And one of them says, come on. And the wife says, well, I'll make a phone call as soon as I can get to Boulder Creek. No, she said, I'll meet you when you get there, if and when. So she went on ahead. I finally got it going again and got over the hill to Boulder Creek and couldn't find her. She had called our grandson because she was worried about the dog was in the house. And she got a hold of him. He came down and the water heater broken loose. Gas was spewing out into the wall furnace in the rumpus room was about 9 or 10 feet away, and the pilot light was still going, and the gas was spewing out of the water heater. Grandson got the fire department to come down, and they turned it off, and they said how lucky the neighborhood was. It could have blasted several houses. But anyway, I got home finally, and we almost got home at the same time. So we came in and we had broken windows, plate glass. The kitchen was about knee deep in tomato sauce and chocolate and whatnot. And said, well, there's nothing we can do. So we pushed the glass aside and went to bed. And then we lay there and tried to guess how big the aftershocks were. And our granddaughter would call up and say, I think that was a 5. So that was quite an experience.
Quite an experience.
Interesting point about that. Bruce, my son, lives up on Depot Hill. They had practically no damage, but the bookshelf in the family room, the books moved a little bit, and one of them slid way out. And it was history of the earthquake of 1906, San Francisco.
Wow.
It was strange that one book slid out.
All of us who lived through that have some stories to tell.
Oh, I bet.
Another thing that people often remember about Capitola that many people today don't know about is that there used to be an airport here. Do you have any recollections of the airport?
I remember that, just barely. Mm-hmm. I wasn't very big, but it was up on Depot Hill.
It was there until the mid-50s when it closed down.
Right. Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever saw an airplane land there.
What about the bulb growing industry? Browns and Antonellis, Vetterlis?
Yeah, they used to be up on Capitola Road. Mm-hmm. Used to be beautiful. I was sorry to see them go.
Did you get over there to see the big displays in the fall?
Oh, yeah, we sure did. Well, that's where they originally bought, or didn't buy them. They got the begonia flowers for the begonia festival. Now they have to go to the marina, I think it is, or something, to get the flowers. Those were beautiful gardens.
Well, what are the biggest changes you've seen here at Capitola through the years? How is it different from a long time ago?
Traffic.
I mean, there wasn't hardly any traffic in the 40s and 50s?
No,
I guess not compared to now.
Not compared to now. There's always been traffic, but they've always hollered about more parking. But now we've got a lot more parking, and I think it's really helped. Closing the trailer park and added a lot of parking places.
What about Capitola in the winter? Is it busier now in the winter than it was years ago?
Yeah, it is. We got more tourists come over.
Mm-hmm. I guess it depends on the weather. It
used to be Labor Day. We got our city back, we used to claim. And it's still a little bit that way when all the vacationers go home. But and it gets a little quieter.
Tell me again about these two photos here. That one there.
Well, this one, the museum has a copy of it. The man holding the fry pan is my grandfather. This was taken in 1894. And the little girl was an aunt. She was 4 years old at the time. She passed away many years ago at 96.
Wow. And what was her name?
Hazel Weister. People would remember her.
And what was your grandfather's name?
John, same as my dad, John C.
And that photo, I think you said, was taken, that building's on Stockton Avenue,
It's about
right?
where, I guess it's where they call it the lighthouse now, that looking upstream towards the trestle.
Yeah, you can just barely see the trestle in the background
Yeah.
in that photo.
But that's the group that came over and fished.
And what about this other one here?
This photo was that cabin was built about the turn of the century, as far as I can find out, because they said it was old when a house next door was built in 26. So it's covered with ivy and nasturtiums. You had to go outside the door and down a boardwalk to the bathroom.
And that's the location where we are now?
That's where we are now. That's on the street side.
I see. When did you replace that house, and was it very difficult to replace?
Well, that was 1965.
65.
Yeah, we built the other, where we're living now, on the other end of the property by the creek. And the agreement was we had to take that down, because actually it was two lots in those days.
Oh.
Where we are right here now used to be called Boardwalk. On the deed and whatnot shows it on Boardwalk.
That was the name of the street?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Was that the name for the street out
the whole thing
right along the river?
right along the river? Yeah, there was no street, it was just a path, but it was Boardwalk. Well, a good part of it was actual Boardwalk.
I see.
Some of the remains are still, some of the pilings are still out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, this one is
That's an early map of Capitola.
early map. I don't know how accurate it is, but
Yeah, I guess that was when Heen was subdividing the property and selling lots.
right, yeah. Well, it has Camp Capitola written on there, but the camp is crossed off.
I guess they were just in the process of
Yeah,
getting rid of the tents and putting up houses.
right.
Well, thank you very much, Dick, for being part of the Capitola Memories Project.
You're very welcome. It's fun.
Capitola, come to the coast with me. The sun and the sky are free. We'll play in the sand and sea. Capitola, paradise you'll adore. I'll take your hand there on the sand along the shore. Capitola, over the bridge we'll go. We'll capture the sunset glow and wait for the creek to flow. Capitola, sway to the ocean's roar. Beside the strand we'll hear the band down by the shore. Capitola.